Well, good morning. Today we're going to talk about the belief system and healing. This episode is number 3 in this series on the belief system, our fear versus faith. And I hope you're enjoying this series and perhaps passing it on to people you think might benefit by hearing this message. So far, we've talked about energy and how energy is formed in the body. And we've talked about the impact of music and sound in relationship to healing. And this all surrounds what you believe in. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. You know, it's such a strong part of whether we are healthy or whether we are sick. Walt Disney said, think, believe, dream, and dare. And so he brought it a little bit further. So he involved the doing part of it. So, in other words, if you're confronted with something that challenges your belief system, perhaps you ought to look at it and dare maybe to see if it works for you. So what is belief? Let's look at it like what the dictionary says is belief is the conviction of the truth of some statement or the reality of some being or phenomenon, especially when based on the examination of evidence. And when we're faced with a new evidence, perhaps we should examine whether it makes sense for us to believe in the new evidence. It's beliefs are how we make our decision. You know, I believe this is the right path, and you take it. And sometimes it's an unconscious thing. I have linked a story of Jason, who lived in California, was living what he thought the best life he could live. He had a wonderful wife. He had a great job. You know, California, the weather, he thought it was all working for him until he wondered why he was so tired all the time. And so he went and got a exam by a doctor and discovered that he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. Went through 2 years of doing the medical method of what they suggest, and he had to go through chemo, but he didn't have to do radiation. And so during this time, he thought to himself, he went and challenged his beliefs. Was he really living his best life ever? They were eating out a lot. They, you know, they were doing what people do normally. And he thought to himself, why did I get this? And when he asked the doctor after he'd been cleared of cancer what he should be doing, maybe he should eat differently or, you know, exercise more or whatever. And the doctor said, oh, just keep doing what you're doing. And he thought, well, that doesn't make sense, because if what I was doing contributed to what I got, I don't want to get it again. So I think you'll enjoy Jason's story. It's not very long. I think maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. And it might help you perhaps examine what you're doing, because a lot of the times we don't associate what we're doing with what we got. So belief can be based on our upbringing, our group thinking. It can be a common belief, you know, this is what everybody should have if they want a good life. or it's our belief, what we know in our heart to be true. And I think that that's the belief we need to follow. But when we're faced with a different belief, because that particular belief isn't working for us, maybe we ought to look at this new belief and see whether or not that might work better for us, as in Jason's story, because he is now 7 years without cancer and has completely changed his life. So belief is based on fact. New cells are constantly replacing old cells. This is called regeneration. In fact, the medical community now is creating a new medical avenue called medical regenerative healing. And it's all about taking embryonic cells and injecting those embryonic cells into you. Because when we are babies or young, we have a lot more of these cells that can develop into tissue anywhere in our body. And so we also have these particular cells, but as we age, we lose the ability. And it is my belief that we can key into that growth of these new cells, that we can regenerate through this, because our belief system is so powerful and it runs our body. It actually is the engine that drives our health, well-being, our attitudes, all of it. So, by the way, if this is keying into some things that maybe touch your heart and think this might be true for you, give me a thumbs up, comment. If in some way you have seen that by changing the way you believed here into what you believe there is working better for you, or the opposite. Maybe you were hit with something that drove you down into this cyclone of events, and you're wondering how to get yourself out of that. And we're going to address some of that today. So what has proven to work? Well, we know healthy diet and a healthy weight is really benefiting people. Now, what that diet is, wow, there's so many out there, but I personally don't think that we're meant to be extreme in our diet. I think that it should be well balanced, and I feel that animal proteins are healthier in respect to amino acid production, things that you can get as a whole are better for you. I feel that butter was demonized by the medical community, and there are some people that still believe that butter is bad. I feel that butter is good. And if you can tolerate certain things that are healthy for you, then do it. If you can't tolerate those things, examine why. Get into studying your own body, how your body is working or not working, and then challenge what you've been doing. Sometimes you got to rest from these foods and correct your digestive system, and then go back to it. Try to create this balanced diet. Exercise. Oh, last week I went out and I picked up my Azure Standard pickup, and usually my husband goes with me, but he was playing tennis at the time of the pickup this time, and I didn't want him to miss tennis, so I went. I only had 3 boxes, and I didn't realize that they would pack most of it in this one box. And, I had potatoes and apples and, and it was heavy. And I went to pick it up and I hurt my back. So I've been struggling with that. My husband's been helping me. He's a retired chiropractor and he's been working on my back daily. And I have been able to walk around now without pain, and it is getting better. But you know what? I realized, see, I was hit with a new belief system, or one that I kind of want to reject, is exercise. I eat healthy. I have a good positive mental attitude. I love what I do, but I don't exercise. So I think this was my comeuppance. I have to do more exercise. So sleep is really, really important. If you don't sleep really well, and now you have to look at the studies. The studies say the best sleep is before midnight, that when you can sleep starting from like 9:30, 10 o'clock, you get almost double the amount of sleep than you get after. And that comes from the cycle of repair that our body goes through when we're sleeping. And that's a fact. That's not something that I'm drawing out of air. Now, you may consider yourself a night owl. Well, maybe you're a night owl because you can't get up in the morning and you feel lousy, but it's because of your habits of working late. Now, maybe it's something you have to do. Maybe you have 7 children and the only way you can get anything done is in the evening. But if you can kind of figure out what you can do differently, that would be better, healthier for you. Now, inflammation is a healthy thing. Your body does that in protection of fighting bacteria and viruses and all of these things that might create infection. But constant inflammation is not healthy. It's wearing tissue down. It's causing pain. And you need to find out why your body is in constant inflammatory state. And maybe, it's like the old carpenter that keeps hitting his thumb and figuring out if he takes aspirin, he'll be fine. But what he's got to do really is quit hitting his thumb. So, and then toxins. We are inundated with toxins. You got to spray your furniture and your house, and you got to have these stick ups, and these are toxins, people. This does not contribute to health, and it certainly doesn't contribute to your ability to breathe fresh air and sunshine and those things that you need to be doing in order for good health. That's why people feel better when they're in the woods or the ocean side. That amount of oxygen that you're exposed to is aiding to your health. And so, the other thing is, smoking, and you just need to, these are facts that we know to be true, that you cannot smoke and be healthy. It's just, even one cigarette can infect the lungs and make them have to deal with this toxin that they have to work harder. The medical community started out saying, even your doctor smokes Camels. It's like, come on, people, don't believe everything you hear. There's nonsense out there that we need to take in and listen to your heart and find out, really, do Does that resonate with you? Does that make sense that doctors smoke Camels and that makes it healthy for you? And then, of course, we found out later these were not doctors, they were paid actors. And, actors act and they do a good job of it. And we are constantly being inundated with these actors portraying as health experts who aren't really health experts. They're just actors. So I believe that food is our medicine. It should be our base, but occasionally we need to take in some kind of supplements. And there is value in what you say to yourself. If you feel I am vibrant and healthy and work toward that goal, maybe you're not vibrant and healthy right now, but you have that possibility because your cells want you to be healthy. Now, how you develop those cells depends on your attitude, your food intake, the things you breathe in, the toxins you get rid of, all of that. So it's all in your belief system. And if your belief system isn't working for you, then you're sad and depressed and you're sick a lot. You're angry and destructive and have thoughts that are not considered healthy. You eat poorly, your health habits are not good, you don't take care of yourself, you don't get out of your pajamas from day to day. Something has to change. Something has to move. Your belief system has to change in some little way to move yourself out of these bad habits. So in general, it's time for a change, and there are people that can help you. There's behavioral cognitive therapy, which has been very, very successful. There are essential oils, flower essence therapies, there's positive meditation. There is help out there. You need to just pray on it and ask for guidance. And when the guidance comes, you need to listen to that guidance. Just as I needed to learn or relearn exercise. Since COVID, I just sort of let things slide by. And now I have to take stock and listen. It's sort of like that old joke. Guy was standing on his lower steps of his porch and noticing all the rain had made the street kind of fill up, and his neighbors are walking by in their boots and all this, and they're saying, come on, it's going to get worse. You need to get out of there. We've been told to get away, that a flood is coming. And he said, oh, no, God will save me. And then next thing you know, he's on the porch and the water is way over the step he was standing on. And now his neighbors are going by in rowboats and they said, come on, get in. It's getting worse. You need to get out of here. And he said, oh no, God will save me. And the next thing you know, he's on the roof and a helicopter comes and he said, climb the ladder. It's going to get worse. And he's looking around and there really are no houses available to look at anymore. And it's all water. And he says, oh no, God will save me. Well, of course he drowns and he gets there and he gets to the Golden Gates and he, well, Lord, why didn't you save me? And he said, look, I sent you neighbors. I sent you rowboats. I sent you a helicopter and you didn't listen. So, it's the type of thing where it's like, we need to be hit with a 2x4 sometimes to recognize the message that we're hearing. So I hope you've enjoyed this little lesson on belief and healing. You know, belief is involved in both the placebo effect and the nocebo effect. The placebo means that if you believe it, you're going to heal. That contributes really, really to the ability of healing, that you have the capacity of healing. Of course, doing all the other things that we've talked about is going to assist that belief. The nocebo is, if you believe it's not going to work, hey, it's not going to work. And you can choose. Belief can work for you or against you. It's up to you. Either way, what you believe will influence the information that you're willing to uncover, and that comes to you. See, it's out there. Information is out there, but are you blocking the ability for that information to get to you? Or are you open to believe that there is information out there that can help you? So we need to check our belief system. And if your belief system isn't working for you, change it, find something else. Well, until next time, which I hope that you will continue finding my videos informative. I do have, this is called Health to Home. I have Gardening with Granny, and I have the Herbal Hour presentations, which are quite lengthy. And the next Herbal Hour presentation is going to be about the urinary system. So I hope that you find something that works, that gives you some kind of incentive, or at least is uplifting for you. Until next time, this is Dr. Mary for the